What's up guys? I'm Matt from Running Warehouse, and today we're going to be taking a look at the all-new HOKA Arahi 6. So the Arahi has become a core model in HOKA's lineup, and it offers some lightweight stability for those runners who need that extra support when taking the shoe out on their daily miles. Fans of the Arahi will appreciate the 6th model because it's almost identical to the previous version that came out last year. I actually have my 5th model here, and as you can see, they have pretty much the same silhouette and they look almost identical. There's only a few minor changes that come in the 6th version, and we'll dive into those right now. When we dive into the new Arahi 6, we can take a look at the specs. It's still gonna be right under 10 ounces for a men's size 9, and then it's also still gonna have that 5mm heel to toe drop with 35mm in the heel and 30 mils in the forefoot. Now, compared to other HOKA models like the Clifton, it's gonna be slightly shorter, only a couple millimeters shorter than the Clifton. And compared to the Bondi and the Gaviota, which are those higher max stack height shoes, it's gonna offer more of that moderate level of cushioning that runners are looking for. It's not gonna be the most plush experience, but it's also not gonna be super close to the ground where you're feeling every step. The Arahi has that nice kind of balanced cushioning of that EVA foam that HOKA is known for. Taking a closer look at the midsole, we still see that it is that HOKA classic EVA foam, which is a very moderate experience. It's not super firm and it's not super plush. There are other models in HOKA's lineup like the Clifton and the Bondi that offer that super plush experience. But since this shoe has a little bit lower of a stack, it is gonna be a firmer ride than those other two models, but it's still gonna be super smooth and something that you can trust day in and day out for all those miles. Along with that midsole, of course, the Arahi is going to have that classic J-frame technology that offers a more modern version of stability instead of there being that very intrusive medial posting that a lot of traditional shoes had. The way that the J-frame works is it consists of basically a firmer EVA foam that runs more consistent through the midsole rather than it being just a brand new plastic posting that kind of takes away from the actual feel of the midsole. So the way that the J-frame works with that classic HOKA EVA foam is overall just a very consistent experience. Adding on to that just overall smooth experience that the Arahi has, HOKA also includes their classic late stage meta rocker geometry, which gives runners a very fluid experience as they're either changing paces or just running their natural daily miles. Overall, the midsole of the Arahi 6 is pretty much the same thing that we saw in the previous version. It's still inherently stable with that nice wide base and has that very consistent J-frame technology that creates an overall smooth experience for runners. And the only real changes that we see in this shoe comes in the upper. Taking a look at those slightly different changes, we can start with the tongue. The tongue is a little more plush than it was in the previous version. It's actually nicely soft and it's not overbearing when you go to cinch up the shoe. And speaking of cinching up the shoe, this time in the 6th version, the laces are shorter than the 5th model. Back in that 5th model, those laces were just super long and I had to triple, quadruple knot my laces, but this time they got the laces dialed in. They're a little bit shorter and it's a little bit easier to manage when you're lacing up the shoe. There is just a different design of the upper overall. The upper still consists of that nice mesh, which it does have smaller ventilation holes, but it almost seems a little bit thinner than the previous versions. You're still getting a lot of breathability and all of that kind of adaptability that you need out of a shoe like this. The overall fit is pretty much the same as the 5th version. It's very snug and offers a really good lockdown in the midfoot and then opens up a little bit towards the forefoot where you get ample toe splay and you're able to adapt to different paces and different corners and things that you might have on your runs. The Arahi 6 will also come with that flare tab in the heel, which I just think adds a really cool look to the shoe, but also offers an easier on-off for whenever you're taking the shoe off, putting it on, getting ready for your run, that sort of thing. The last aspect is the outsole. There's a lot of rubber on this shoe. There's some exposure over here in the midfoot, but overall it's still the same sort of rubber that we saw in the 5th version. It'll still offer a lot of traction on multiple surfaces, whether that's road, some grass, some gravel. It really is able to just kind of handle anything that you would want to do while you're going out for your daily miles. So I use the Arahi 6 for a handful of my daily miles, and I have a slightly lower arch, and I can wear neutral shoes with my stride, but sometimes I just needed that little bit of stability that came with the Arahi 6, where it wasn't intrusive and it really was able to catch my foot nicely, and it was almost like I could trust it every single time that I stepped. And I don't know if that was because of how smooth the J-frame stability is, or if it was because it has a wider net base and my foot was able to just attach itself to any part of the shoe. But I really appreciated the protection that the Arahi gave me on those daily efforts. Because the Arahi 6 falls into that lighter weight stability category, I mean, it's not the lightest shoe on the market, but falling under that 10-ounce mark does give this shoe the ability to tap into those faster paces on your daily runs. So when I wanted to hit closer to 6-minute pace for some of my efforts, I was able to in the Arahi, but it also can handle those slower mileage efforts like 8-minute pace, 9-minute pace, 10-minute pace, whatever you're running, the Arahi 6 was able to handle because it has that lightweight versatility that also comes with the nice stability that it has. I basically loved everything about the Arahi 6, and there's a reason why HOKA has such a big following. There's only some things that I would change with this shoe, where I think that the classic EVA is kind of becoming somewhat of a traditional type foam, where if HOKA really wanted to tap into the lightweight stability, super fun option, I think throwing something like ProFly into the Arahi would make this shoe way more energetic and just a more fun option that all kinds of runners would want to grab. They already have the Gaviota and the Bondi and the Clifton with these traditional foams, but I think if they wanted to make the Arahi something special, I think throwing something like that ProFly foam or something slightly more energetic would give this shoe the excitement that it needs to kind of grow and progress to even bigger popularity. At the end of the day, the Arahi 6 is a nice update from its previous version. It adds some small changes just to make it that much better, but I still think that there is room for this shoe to grow, and HOKA as a brand can do a lot more cool things to the Arahi and a lot of its other models to really progress forward and make these shoes way more exciting and have more energy to them. But the Arahi 6 is still that nice lightweight stability option that runners can trust day in and day out. And if you're looking to get this shoe, you can grab it at runningwarehouse.com.